What is up, Raider Nation? And Raider back here with another video. I know it's been a while since I've recorded on YouTube. That's because I've been busy here on the Instagram. Or over on the Instagram. Um, Obviously today we know what we're all here for. This afternoon, or closer to the Super Bowl, it was reported that Derek Carr will demand to be released. So the Raiders have technically released him, and the release will be official on February 15th, which is this upcoming Wednesday. So that's in about 3 days. So, yeah. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to talk about what my thoughts are. I'm going to talk about what the Raiders could do next at quarterback. And we're just going to see what happens. So, obviously, we know Derek Carr was obviously going to be moved. You know, obviously, we mentioned for final 2 games of the season. And obviously, we know that both sides wanted to move on, wanted a fresh start. And I know we all know that everything was tense about it, right? You could say that the Raiders' handling of it was not very clean. You could say it wasn't very professional. You could also look at the other side of the token and say that Carr wasn't very helpful at all, not wanting to play ball with us and basically forcing his release. And so I think, I knew it was time, and I think it is time now, and I think this is the thing the Raiders have to do the most right now. And I think they've got to, this is the way I look at it now. They've got to get rid of the sour grape in the grape field. You know what I mean? Like they gotta get rid of him. So they'll be getting rid of him. They'll be saving about $30 million against the hard cap. So that'll be exciting because we can use that financial compensation to shore up the defense, and so that's exciting. But obviously, I think we all knew it was time. Like I said, all sides wanted to move on, and so we move on. It's a shame that one, it ended this way. And 2, that we couldn't compensate off of Derek. Obviously, we heard the rumors this past week about him going to visit the New Orleans Saints. We heard that the Raiders were maybe going to ask for a 3rd-round pick from the Saints. We also heard that there was framework in place in case Derek wanted to go to the Saints. So, obviously, in Derek's eyes, he looks at this as, hey, I don't have to do the Raiders any favors. They basically botched me. You know what I mean? Like, they just said F you, and he said F you back. And so we won't be compensating off of him, and that's a shame because we obviously wanted to get off of his contract and get something back, whether it was a 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick, whatever it was. Obviously now, because he asked for his release, that won't be happening. And like I said, both sides will move on. So I know there's a lot of fans right now who are like on edge on Twitter, on Instagram, on social media, everywhere, who are like, well, I'm going to hate Derek now, What have I heard today? Real quick? I've heard that, Derek's a war criminal. I've heard that he's a terrorist. I've heard it all. And I've also heard the side that said, well, good for Derek. Raiders did him no favors, so this is just his way of getting out. And yeah, I see both sides of it. I really do. I think Derek did have all the power to request his release this way. It sucks. It really does suck that he wasn't wanting to play ball with us and at least wanting to go somewhere via trade, even though I think he ended up in New Orleans, and I think the whole New Orleans visit was for him saying, hey, I want to come to New Orleans, but you guys are going to have to wait until I get released, so you guys don't have to give any compensation for me. That's kind of what it was, right? So I see the side of it saying that, hey, Derek's this and Derek's that because he didn't want to play ball with us, and I also see the sides of it saying, hey, Derek, Derek is good for doing this because he doesn't owe the Raiders anything. The Raiders did him dirty, da-da-da-da-da. Like I said, I see both sides of it, but I think we have to look at it as this, right? For the longest time, we all know that Derek has gone downhill in play, and this season was no different. He's gone. Isn't that what we wanted? Isn't that all what we wanted? Didn't we want a fresh start? Didn't we want something new? Didn't we want a new era? I mean, so you can be mad all you want at the guy, but we should be all happy that he's gone, right? We should be happy because this is what we wanted, So I understand both sides of the token, but at the same time, it's like, he's gone now. Let's be happy, right? So with that, I am really excited for a new era of Raiders football. I'm excited to see who the next Raiders quarterback will be. Like I said, I've long thought it was time for change. Derek has just been going really downhill in his past few years of his career, so I think it's time for a change. I think Derek will end up with the Saints, and he'll be joining a really strong team with a really good defense, so that's good for him. As for the Raiders, we now look at a situation where the quarterback options aren't aplenty as they were about a month or two ago, right? Brady has retired. Obviously, we know that he filed his retirement paperwork on Friday to officially be retired with the NFL. So now we look at Aaron Rodgers, who they could make a play for, and there's been rumblings that, hey, they've called. So, that would be nice. Obviously, though, that would require us to give up a lot of compensation, in which we probably have to give up some prime draft picks, such as the first-round pick, second-round pick, maybe a third-round pick. Although that it would cost a lot. Now, if the Raiders wanted to go with the more sure thing, then yeah, you do it. And I mean, would I be against it? No, heck no. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. Why would I be against that? Right? So they got Aaron Rodgers they can go after, but then Aaron Rodgers also has to decide whether he wants to leave Green Bay or not. Obviously, we have a driving force in Devontae Adams who can bring him here, so that's obviously possible. But other options than that, it starts getting really bleak. I, for one, think that they're going to go after somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo, and obviously, we know Jimmy Garoppolo is not better than Derek Carr, but in the current sense, as of right now, we're not going to find an option better than Derek Carr, unless it is Aaron Rodgers. So, what I think will happen is, I think they'll go after a Garoppolo-type quarterback. I think maybe they roll with Stidham. If not, I think we roll with Stidham if we don't go for a Garoppolo-type quarterback, which might be a good idea, considering that he was actually pretty okay in his first two starts, right? So, I wouldn't mind that either at this point. But then you're signaling this year's going to be a tank year with no expectations, so then that might not appease Mark Davis and his mom, who own the team, right? So they can look at that option. They could also look at draft options, and I like the draft options. I've heard a lot about C.J. Stroud, who is, you can say, kind of pro-ready, but not really yet. I mean, he could start day one if you really needed him to. But my thing with C.J. Stroud is, and I want him, 100%. He's good, right? But, we'd have to jump Indianapolis and give up a lot of draft compensation. We probably have to give up, the next 3 years of first-round picks. We already gave up our first-round pick last year to Green Bay for Devontae. Dave Ziegler and his people want to draft. I think that's no secret. They want to draft. They want to shore up this defense. They know what the holes are. They know what they need to get done. So, they could look at the draft options, too. But I think getting somebody in the draft, it would be a little too pricey. Put it that way, right? I think also that Florida's Anthony Richardson is a very solid prospect. I've recently started doing homework on him. I know that Dave Ziegler's people are very infatuated with the skill set. And so he would be a reach at 7, but if they really wanted him at 7, I would be okay with it. I really would. I think he's going to be good. It's going to take him a while, but I think he's going to be good. So they could go that option. And a wild card option that I could see the Raiders going, and I know a lot of you guys may not like this, but I would love to see them at least place a call on the availability of Jordan Love. Jordan Love, whom the Packers drafted, 2 years ago now? Hasn't got a shot in Green Bay because of Aaron Rodgers. But I think his skill set and what the Raiders have on offense at this current moment mesh very well. And if you wanted, it wouldn't be a seamless transition because nothing in Josh McDaniels' offense is a seamless transition. But if you wanted something similar to what Derek Carr provided, if you wanted something similar to the offense that Derek Carr was in last season, then you could totally look at Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love and Derek Carr are a little similar. I do like the way that Jordan Love throws the ball, and I think he has a lot of upside. And so, obviously, trading for Jordan Love would probably cost you a third-round pick or something like that, which you could afford, but they could go that option too. Honestly, though, I don't know what option they're going to go, right? But I know this, okay? We saved $30 million for a defense that needs everything. I mean, let's be real, right? We got rid of a guy who no longer wanted to be here, who was bringing out his brothers for his publicity stunts. And by the way, it's a 3-1, right? Derek and his brothers leave, so that's positive, okay? And make no mistake about it, I wish Derek nothing but the best, but it was time, okay? It was time for all his mess to go. They leave too, right? So we get rid of that. We also get rid of a guy that Josh McDaniels wasn't very comfortable in, or believed in, rather. And we also get a guy who was kind of putting a capper on our team's talent, right? We can now bring in a guy if they really want to, which they probably should, because Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are on thin ice heading into the season because last season was such a train wreck. You could look into a situation now where they could bring in a star talent to mesh with our offense, which you could argue should be a lot better than what it's been. Or, you can confirm that. So, I don't know what they're going to do, but we know what the positives are at this current point in time. And I trust our regime. I'm really excited to see what they do. And if you guys don't follow my Instagram, at Raiders with Marcos, you guys should go follow that right now and I'll link it in the bio. But I'm going to have updates on that all offseason, along with some other content that I'm really excited to bring you guys, for you guys that already do follow, because I know some of you guys have come from there to watch this. So, I don't know what they're going to do. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. We've moved on. It's a new era, and I'm here for it. I'm really excited. And so, it's exciting. It sucks that we couldn't get any compensation off of Derek Carr, like I said. It would have been really nice to get something to add to our draft picks, but we move on, and that's what we've wanted. That's what we've needed to do. So, I'm excited for it. I'm really hoping our regime does what they need to do. I trust them fully, and I'm really hoping we get some studs on the defense, because I'm sick and tired of seeing Max Crosby be the only living soul on our defense. You can argue Chandler Jones, but you get my point. We'll see what happens. It's a new era in Las Vegas, and we should all be excited. With that, guys, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys go follow my platforms, and as always, go Raiders. Thank you guys.